Hi, my name's Ben and I'm a data engineer at Quintessence. Today we're going to be looking a little bit at entities and relationships. Now both of these things exist within the Quintessence Data Model, and there's a previous video that we've uploaded about the Quintessence Data Model, but we're going to be examining entities and relationships in the entity browser for now. Now an entity is any object in the database, right? So most objects would be items that you're maybe more familiar with, portfolios, stocks, benchmarks, that sort of a thing, and they all have codes associated with them. So if I type in AGL representing Anglo Gold, I can find AGL on the entity browser. And if I click on the plus button next to AGL, I can see all the different codes associated with it. So I can see AGL can also be referenced by its ISIN code, which is GB00B1XZ S820, or perhaps a TIDM code or another JSC alpha code. So AGL2 is another code of the type JSC alpha code. The type that I typed in, AGL, that has also got a type of JSC alpha code. So every code and code type combination makes a unique identifier to an object in Quintessence or an entity. Now there's also a Quintessence ID here, and this references the ID that's stored in the database that is the core part of what that entity is. And this can be essentially random, but it's useful if you are familiar with the SQL database for examining data on AGL, for example. Now, entity codes are very useful. It's very good to have a solid understanding of how they work and what they're doing. A lot of entities such as portfolios might have very few codes on them because they would be specific to entities that are inside your database and familiar with you and your scenario. But stock codes may have lots of different codes in them that may just be useful for people who are familiar with different types of source datas to type these in. So if I close the entity browser and open it up again, and I want to find AGL, but I'm used to referencing the TIDM code, for example, I could type in 100, searching for that code, perhaps 100U, and if I click on the plus button, I'll see, hey, this is still the same entity I was looking at beforehand. This is still AGL, but I've searched for it using a different code type. All of our functions can also have those different code types put in order to reference that entity. Now, entities also have relationships on them. And this is another part of the Quintessence data model that we've gone over before, but we can see in this system we've got a few relationships like the country. This is the associated country. And relationships are always between two entities. So ZA is South Africa, and if I type in ZA in the entity browser, it is also an entity with codes on it. And so that's what makes this a relationship. And you can see it's one way. The country ZA is related to AGL, but if I go to ZA, there's no relationship back. Now, there's lots of different relationships. We've got exchange here, we've got exchange currency. We could also have other relationships such as an issuer or a parent company or derivative as well, which may be useful in your scenario. Now, a common relationship we use is a relationship called constituent. So if I go to a portfolio, I may be interested in all the stocks within that portfolio, and we often load that onto a relationship called constituent. And we can see that this is a many-to-one relationship. So there are many constituents on portfolio one. I could have other relationships here, such as benchmarks or something else like that lets me understand how this portfolio relates to other objects within the system. But this is all we're going to go over for now. If this has been useful for you in understanding what entities are, what codes are, and what relationships do inside Quintessence.